So this person right here, his name is Indez or Rome. He's an active member inside of my Discord server, and I talk to him on a daily basis about the economy and about the overall vision of the game. Um, in fact, a lot of the ideas that I'm talking about actually comes from him. So I would thank Indez, also known as Rome, for the ideas as well as the conversations we've had online. And I really, I said it more than once. I've said it more than twice. I really like this profile picture. I like it a lot. Um, so this is what Indes has stated. I've said it before, and I will say it again. The economy in FusionFall is a barter system. Okay? And yes, different people want to assign different values to items. Why? Because different items are genuinely worth more than others. Yeah, that's what Slavin stated within his first post. Even if it is mostly based off of cosmetic value, that's also what Ruth stated, that the meta is mostly just cosmetics. The meta economy is cosmetics. And it's possible to level up with just your guide gear. You don't need any gumballs or booster potions. A good example is clothing with things like a normal white shirt versus a designer, okay? Why are designer shirts worth more than a plain white t-shirt? Is it because people just want the cost of Balenciaga to be like $700, or is it because people are willing to buy their shirt because it looks better than just a plain shirt? Um, you know, I can understand that because like I own Dr. Dre beats, and people ask me. Well, I had a friend ask me, can I try that on? And he said, the quality is pretty much the same quality as like your $20 headphones. And I said, like, why do you have this? And I replied stating, I don't pay for the quality. I pay because it's a designer. I want people to recognize me, that the item that I'm wearing is expensive, and at least I'm willing to go admit that. It's shallow, but for example, like I'm wearing a shirt where Jesus is literally surfing on water right now. I did that because I like attention, and I like going to the gym, or I like going outside and getting compliments for like my novelty t-shirts. Like I literally have like a PewDiePie jacket. I love PewDiePie, and I love it when people recognize me and say, "Yo, that's a PewDiePie jacket," right? Um, Obviously, there are more factors, but the thing is, you can choose to not buy these shirts. Yeah, no one is forcing you to buy something at a certain price. You can just as easily go to eBay and find a shirt from someone selling it for lower, or find a knockoff version. So, just going with that Hanes white t-shirt to a Balenciaga t-shirt. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, I'm mostly agreeing with this right now. So the same thing applies to FusionFall. I genuinely feel like a lot of you want this game to be a dress-up simulator with little to no effort to get items. I don't think that's what everyone wants. I mean, the analogy here is, imagine that you have cheat codes to get any item that you want versus actually getting the item through hard work. I mean, it will be fun at first, right? But eventually you'll get very bored of it. I would rather, instead of cheating, I would get it the natural way. So I can understand I can understand that perspective. Now, the problem that I kind of want to poke here is that it would have to be the delivery, and this is kind of like a problem that Rome has. He makes these excellent arguments, excellent points. However, the delivery of this can come off, if not insulting, but I can understand his perspective. I would rather work hard for these items, and again, there is a nice compromise for it. Like I said, if they were to re-release these items, not in a way where it drops like candy, but where you have to work for it, then I can understand. And bringing back Ruth's idea with the throwback shop, where these items cost 100k, that's understandable because you can't just magically have 100k around you. You would have to work for that either through grinding or selling your items or asking for donations. You don't make any taros to buy anything, so you then complain that things are too high to buy from others, and those items should be released again so you can buy it for much lower. I don't think that's what the community wants. You don't make any taros to. So my impression is that he's stating that everyone is poor, and they would rather want it to be free. Now, in terms of economics, the buyer always wants to get the cheapest possible price, right? If possible, they would want it for free. Yeah, of course. To buy from others, and those items should be released again so you can buy it for much lower. No, I don't think that's true. I think what people want is for these items to just be here because, well, for one thing, they don't want it to be monopolized, and also because the primary objective of the game is not the economy, but actually through nanos and missions. That's the main attractions and selling point of this game originally, and I can believe it will continue to be like that. Okay, and so that's all fine and dandy, but then I asked two questions. What's the point of patching things? Like, so this is the part that I'm just like, Rome, you're a good friend of mine, but I just strongly disagree with this. It's a nice thought experiment, but let's continue. What's the point of patching things like duplicating items if items are just cosmetics and no monetary value should be applied to them? Well, first of all, duplicating items is banned because that would give players an unfair advantage. Same thing with the Taro's hack in the original game, where it made Taros incredibly worthless. Where people would just have to go barter things. That's what he said originally. Economy FusionFall is a barter system. Same thing with like the grinding hacks. It gives players an unnatural advantage. I think you could have given out a better analogy for this, but I can kind of see where you're coming from. Like, what's the point of patching things like duplicating items if items are just cosmetics and no monetary value should be applied to them? What is the point of patching Taro hacks or forbidden? The game is not a traditional MMO. You have absolutely no PvP in this game, so you are not hurting anyone. Okay, delivery room. Okay. Yes, I do agree that there is no form of PvP inside of this game. The closest form of PvP that we have would have to be racing, but the problem with racing, at least in the perspective of the average player, is that they think it's too hard, and even when they try, the all-time scores are just ridiculously hard to do. And like another problem with the racing leaderboards is that there's I dislike it when it's the same person on when there's two people, but it's actually the same person on the all-time leaderboard, or in fact, worst case scenario is 3 or 4. Like, that needs to be gone. It's the same. You're just crowning it up. But anyways, Neither things hurt the game at all if you don't factor in an economy, and yet they can get you banned. There's very little that involves interacting with players, and trading and grinding are the only things that you have to interact with other players. Okay, I can understand his perspective right here. Yeah, so it's entirely possible, and I know this for a fact because I've done this, to go from levels 1 to 36 without ever having to speak to a single person. FusionFall is an RPG. Where is the MMO aspect? And what Rome is stating here, that MMO aspect is found in trading and grinding, because with grinding, ideally you would group up with groups of people, you would socialize with them and be friends with them. And with trading, you know, if you're too lazy to go grind, you're forced to interact and sell your stuff on Fallbay, on the Discord servers. So the economy, although a lot of people don't value it, the economy is there as a form of end game that allows people to stay there long after they're done with the traditional storyline of going from levels 1 to 36. They stay because they want to collect their favorite ultra rares, if not all of the ultra rares, right? They stay because they want to collect all of the event items, right? And I remember I was gonna talk about something here. Once I'm done with my point, I'll come back to this with this post right here. Yeah, the economy is the MMO to our RPG, because everything else you can do by yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, the developers are working on ways to further develop the MMO aspect. From what I've heard, and again, these are rumors, and you should not take this as fact, but I would like this to be true, is that there's going to be plans to install dungeons inside of the game, which forces people to interact with others, right? Just like as any other MMORPG, right? Now, the closest form of a dungeon that we have would have to be the Mega Fusion Echo, because although it is possible to solo Echo, it's very difficult to consistently, keyword is consistently, defeat Mega Fusion Echo every single time, over and over again. You would need at least 2 to 3 people with you to go defeat Mega Fusion Echo. It involves a social aspect for it. Now, if the rumors are true that they are working on a dungeon system, that's great, because they can take their lessons from Halloween 2019 and take their lessons from Christmas 2019 and then apply that to the dungeon system. Fortunately, the devs are listening, and you know, this whole dungeon topic, it deserves its own video, so I'll just talk about that within another time. So neither things hurt the game at all if you don't factor in an economy, and yet they can get you banned. There's very little that involves interacting with players, and trading and grinding are the only things that have you interact with other players, yes. And don't forget the Mega Fusion Echo, don't forget the world bosses, and don't forget that there's more world bosses to be added in the future. I'm still looking forward, the community is still looking forward for like the Gatekeeper. So why should items like commemorate occasions be excluded from being grinded? If we're going all in on what you say about letting all event items be released again, don't try to make exceptions. The original Clockwork set, mission caps, pencil back, and whatever else is an event item that shouldn't be exclusive at all if we're going off of your logic. Now, I think, now I actually have the future knowledge. Like, it's not my first time going through this thread. It's the first time I'm actually commentating on it, but in the future, Slavin stated to make it clear that he wants to make it exclusive because therefore limited special events. Like, there's events that we have like Halloween 2019, and then there's those super special events such as when Retro came out with the future and the 1 year anniversary of the game of Retro, right? And the Clockwork set. I can understand why those are exclusive. Same thing with the pencil backpack and the artist barrette. I can understand why they should never be released because you had to work for them. At least for the artist barrette and the pencil backpack. People should dress how they want with whatever item is inside of the game. They should just legit drop all ultra rares in the cul-de-sac and other clothing vendors and make them all zero taros so we can dress how we want. So Rome is taking this to the extreme. I'm not a fan of extreme stuff. Again, I say that why not we reintroduce these items, but lower the impact where you still have to go grind for these items or at least purchase 100k for these items, right? Similar to the mysterious vendor. I have no issue with the developers going this way. In fact, they should even make cloning items possible and not enforce. I strongly disagree with you with that. What does it hurt? It's a pretty harmless glitch since an economy does not matter. So I'm trying to place myself into his perspective. So if the economy does not matter, then like they should just make everything free. And instead of FusionFall, just call it FashionFall, right? Because I'm trying to understand Rome from his perspective. If the vast majority of people who log into the game don't care about the economy, then they should just make everything free? No, I don't think that's true. I mean, Slavin did state that there are items that are worth more than others, right? Taros don't hurt anybody in the game either. Everyone should have all the money they want because collecting taros is not the point of the game. The part that I agree with you is that the economy is the MMO to the RPG. It forces socialization. If this game is about just collecting nanos and doing missions with your friends, they really need to bring back all ultra rare event items and allow whoever knows how to hack in taros and clone an item to do it without any consequences. Hacking should only be taken seriously when it comes to killing NPCs that infringe on other players' ability to complete the mission, play the game. In fact, we should even be allowed to speed boost our character and do whatever else does not affect other players' ability to do missions and collect their nanos. Now, again, I strongly disagree with this, but let me try and put myself into his perspective. So again, I think he's trying to place an extremist view here. I don't think the community wants every single item to be worthless, where everything is just free. Where, you know, that's not what they want. Whereas Rome is trying to take it to the extreme, where everything should be free because maybe he's misinterpreting it. I'll have to ask him. He's gonna see this video eventually. Yeah. But I strongly do not want hacking inside of the game. And again, just to go repeat the point, people don't want stuff to be entirely free. Because that would just further solidify it just being an RPG and just remove the MMO aspect for it.